This is a math election slide, emphasis on the math. About half of the eligible voters in the USA have voted prior to Election Day. And also there is 328.2 million people in the USA, but only 234.7 eligible voters in the USA. Ranked choice voting helps non-extreme people more like Biden and not like Bernie or Trump. 99.7 million people have voted early, and in 2016, in all, 138.9 million people voted, which is more, but the 99.7 million was early. 11/4/2020 is the election. At the moment, Biden is winning, but it is a pretty close call. As you can see, Biden has about 2 million more votes than Trump. But before Biden was still winning, Trump had more of the popular vote. This slide is about the Electoral College. The Electoral College is a collaboration of people who choose, or you could call it elect, the president. It doesn't mean your vote doesn't count. It just counts more at the state level than the national level. If your state goes to the Democrat, for example, then all of your state's electoral college votes go to Democrat. But most states have a winner-takes-all strategy, but Maine and Nebraska, on the other hand, don't. And in Maine and Nebraska, the electoral college votes are more proportional. In Maine this year, three electoral college votes went to Biden. Trump got one for our side of the state. Sad face. Picture for last slide. It looks like the majority of Maine is red, but there aren't that many people living there in the red zones, so their votes don't count as much in the state popular vote. And now it's Liam's turn.
All right. So here we go. I'm going to be presenting a little explanation on ranked choice voting, which is the way Maine ballots get counted and voted in federal elections, but sadly not state yet. So here we go, ranked choice voting. In Maine, we've passed a new system of voting in federal elections called ranked choice voting. This system is confusing in many ways, but simple in theory. The way it works is instead of counting for voting for one candidate, you choose multiple and rank them by preference. If you want, you can only rank one candidate, but that might not be very beneficial. This is because once all first choice votes are counted, if one candidate does not have a majority of the total ballots cast, then the candidate with the least votes of that ranking is eliminated from the run. If you had that candidate in your current ranking, you are bumped down to your next choice. This is repeated until one candidate has a majority. In the rare occasion when two candidates tie for least number of votes, both candidates are eliminated. So here I'm going to stage a little ranked choice voting election, just to sort of give you some nice explanation. So here we go. Each set of sticky notes, with what I'm calling them, is going to represent one ballot cast. So basically, we have the blue voters, the orange voters, the turquoise voters, yellow, and red. So here I've noted that yellow is a very common second choice among blue voters. So, again, to win a ranked choice voting election, you cannot just simply get the most votes, because otherwise blue would win. You have to have a majority. So, since there has to be at least 12 votes to win in this case, because 12 is a majority. So, there was no majority, so all turquoise rankings were eliminated. This is because turquoise had the least first votes. And the second choices of these voters were counted. These votes were then counted for the other candidates. So basically, all of the turquoise first votes were eliminated, and then they took the rest and say there were like 3 blues. We'd add 3 to the blue pile here. So, again, each candidate still needs 12 votes to win. The majority doesn't change. It's not a majority of all the votes cast because it stays the same, because each vote still is counted. So, now, since red and yellow are tied and there still is no majority, both candidates are eliminated. So this is another interesting part of ranked choice voting. So say in a federal election, this likely will never happen, just because there's so many people voting. But in the extremely rare occasion that two of the eliminated tie, then instead of just choosing one or whatever, both candidates are eliminated. So, anyway, since red and yellow are tied, both candidates are eliminated. And the second choice is, once again, go to the other candidates. And we still do not have a majority. So, still, no one has a majority yet, so orange is eliminated. And their next votes are given to blue. And finally, we have a winner. So, that's how ranked choice voting works. I hope that helped your understanding of it a bit, because before making this, I had no idea how it worked. But
So I have a question. Can you go back 2 slides?
Of course.
Tell me how many blues you have there.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And how many oranges?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So what got eliminated at this stage? Orange?
Oh, that
I just noticed it now.
Problem. So did I.
Yeah.
Just because instead of placing that there,
But you started out with 23 voters, and somehow we've lost track of 3 of those voters.
that is probably because, like, say, these 2 votes, these were completely eliminated because they
Oh.
go out of the
4
running.
actually.
Okay.
These
5,
2,
actually.
these 2, and, well, this one stays the same because he's still in there.
Okay.
And here too. So these 3. So that's how that happens.
So we might have to look up what happens when you have a tie for ranked choice voting.
I believe actually we did look this up.
Okay.
So actually, completely ignore this slide and this one.
That's
We
okay.
do not have a winner yet. The election is still on. So to determine the end, we looked this up earlier.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of different arguments, but one of the ways that we had came across, I thought this was interesting, was basically just flipping a coin and see who comes out on top.
Oh my gosh.
So that is one of the very chaotic parts of this voting system. Does not make a ton of sense to me. But if people want to see how election's going to turn out, we can do that. So,
We'll get a coin.
great.
And probably in a regular election, you'd have a lot more candidates, right?
Undoubtedly.
Or
So-
sorry, you'd have many more voters, I should say.
Yeah.
And so the odds of this happening would be much more
Exactly.
slim.
Just like how it's very unlikely that yellow and red would both have the same amount of votes and be eliminated.
Right.
There would, in a federal election, this will likely never happen. So, basically,
Hazard chance.
they still made a rule for this super unlikely
So you got to determine
occurrence. So
what heads represents and what tails represents, right?
Heads represents
heads is going to be orange and blue's going to be tails.
Okay.
orange
Tails
wins.
is blue.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so blue still wins. Nice.
Alright.
Take it to your
Well
winner
done.
slide.
And finally, we have a winner, and it is still blue.
Nice. Will you take us to your final slide, and maybe you could each take turns reading some conclusions?
Of course. Now we have a conclusion. What? Okay.
Okay, a record number of people voted early this year. We think this is cool because early voting allows working people other voting options. People who didn't want to catch the virus were safe too, and a lot of people don't like Trump and waiting in lines, so they voted early.
Fair. All right. Next up, we have people don't necessarily win just because they have the popular vote. This is because of our electoral college system. We're not in favor personally of the electoral college because it causes the votes of people who live in urban areas to count less than, say, people who live in rural areas. This same thing happened when Hillary Clinton was going against Donald Trump. She won the popular vote, and yet Donald Trump came out on top and won the election because of the electoral college.
We like Maine's system of splitting its electoral college votes. More people are represented in the system, so you have more of a choice.
And we approve of ranked choice voting because votes between two very similar candidates, like say you have a Democrat and then someone from some other super similar party who you both agree with, and in a normal voting system, you'd only be able to vote for one. But say you're using ranked choice voting, you could rank them both in your system, and that way both of them are counted.
And you wouldn't end up risk splitting the progressive vote, for example, in that
Exactly.
case, right? Okay.
Say if you only have one vote, then one person's going to go for one, and you're only going to get like half of the possible combined votes. So yeah.
Cool. Was that it? Any other conclusions? Thanks, dudes.
Yeah.
Awesome presentation.
Thank you.